I want to do an update video on my Airbnb, so here we are. If you're new to the channel, this is a little bit out of the ordinary for videos we do, but I really love this house and I wanted to share with you guys. I bought this house in 2017. We did a full remodel on it. It was an absolute dump before. Let's take a quick tour. So we'll start over here in the kitchen. When I first remodeled this house, we turned this into an escape room. If you're not sure what an escape room is, you can Google it. But this was where guests came in and we first greet them. We had a tablet here, we do bookings, sign your waivers, whatever, we kind of check everyone in. Since then, we put this on Airbnb and this has become the kitchen, which it was pretty well set up for. People aren't staying here with their family for Thanksgiving dinner, so we have this induction cooktop, microwave, toaster oven, few things. It's not a chef's kitchen in here, but it gets the job done. This we kind of use as our guest book, which we did for the escape room as well. We've got all these doors in here, and everyone that comes in, either whether it was for an escape room or just our guests on Airbnb, get to sign the doors. That's been a fun thing. We got some more upstairs. So this is, I guess, what I call the living room. When we had it as an escape room, we had some like high top tables and chairs in here. It was kind of the waiting area where people came in, milled about. We had some puzzles out for them to play with. This, despite how old it looks, is not original to the house. My friend Dave, very talented cabinet maker, made this fireplace for a television. So we would most of the time play fire in there. Sometimes around Halloween we play Frankenstein in there, some movies. We even put a fish tank on for a while. This was actually the monitor for a two-person quick free little escape room we did in the bathroom. So we had a baby monitor up there. People go through puzzles, things hidden in a medicine cabinet, underneath, toilet paper holder, all over. They dress as plumbers, and then they wound up, their friends could watch them. Yeah, we had cameras in the bathroom, but through the baby monitor, they could give them clues, egg them on and stuff. Now it's good for Netflix. So this is the bathroom. We have a half bath down here. It's all kind of cool, black, modern. I really had fun making that. And since it's been Airbnb, we decided we should put in some games, some stuff for kids, things for people to do. This has gone over really well. So in here in the stairwell, we had a local artist do some murals, some things that kind of depict, I don't know, she's got some aliens in there and puzzles and figuring things out, whatever. It's super cool. I had gotten her name. I stalked her in Facebook. She was on done some murals at a restaurant nearby, and it was great to come out and paint these murals. Here's our second bathroom. This is the one that used to have cameras in it. As you can see, it's clearly labeled. There are no longer cameras in here, but this is where people take a shower. In the hallway, we wanted something cool. I got a whole bunch of these license plates, and my dad and I actually glued and nailed them all to the wall here. It might be locked now, but this is actually one of the exits that you escape the room when you solve all the puzzles. You crawl out the hallway. This one's hard to get through. I'll show you that one in here. So this is another room that we had. We called it Grandma's Kitchen. Over here were all these cabinets. They're actually puzzles. They had magnetic locks on them and things like that. As you solved puzzles in here, you'd unlock the next door, you'd reach through some of them, get in, unlock another one. Eventually you went through this cabinet. Can you see in there? I don't know what's in there. You can see the door that leads out. So in here, this is a queen bed. Obviously people sleep in here. We've got a workstation here. I actually bought this desk and filmed a video in Graham Steffen's studio. If you guys ever watch him, he's got a big YouTube channel. It's the same desk he has on his channel. It was a failed attempt at getting some attention, but it was fun nonetheless. So and my buddy Fred, his name's Fred. So this is the second bedroom. This was a room called the inventor's room. We had, boy, I don't even know. We had pipes all over the wall. It did a puzzle with a leaf blower. In the crawl space. This popped open with a secret room that had a bunch of locks and riddles. There was a desk in here, like a inventor's workshop. Over here, when you would solve the final, we've since closed it up, but the toolbox popped open and there was a hole in the floor. You could solve some puzzles. Now we have a king bed in here, place for two, some furniture. Still kind of a fun, neat looking room. Much different than it was, but it served us well. This here is the escape hatch out. It's not for big fellas. So here's the outside. Not a lot here. This lawn is, I don't know, 500 square foot. They mow with a weed whacker, but we've got a fire pit out there. We've got some firewood here for guests. Little kindling and a way to split it. This is a barbecue grill and some chairs. Little table and chairs out of here. You know, it's nothing fancy, but just enough. This is kind of the bridge and tunnel section of town, but it does provide a little privacy. So running this place as an escape room was a ton of fun. We had a blast. It was a time in my life when I really needed a break. It was a great creative outlet. It was before YouTube here. And I had a blast, and so did everybody that came here. They all had a good time. They all had a smile on their face. It almost wasn't work. It was a lot of fun. And Jake, who's behind the camera, say hi, Jake. Hello. Hi, Jake. He was here most of the time, walking the groups through and things like that. In the beginning, I was here a lot, and then when we had larger groups, and that's, I don't know what you thought about it, but I thought that was a lot of fun. You know, some nights we'd run a Groupon around the holidays and have 200 people in here. It was a blast. It was a ton of fun. Then with COVID, things started slowing down. Nobody wanted to come. Then our fearless governor of Illinois decided that we needed to close it. And I'm assuming it was to be a temporary deal, but this is already not a huge money maker, and I decided at that point we should just put this up for long-term rental. So I put it on, rented it to a nice couple, and they were here for almost 2 years. After that couple had left, and they were great, you know, they left the place in good shape. That's my biggest fear, is that somebody come in and trash this place, but they took good care of it. Their time was up, and I came back in here to take a look and see how bad it was. You know, it was not bad at all. We had taken a lot of the quirky things out, you know. Already this thing's got, you know, beds in there where there weren't before, and some of the trap doors and electronics and things were gone. The entire back of the house, which is 2 rooms, that was our jail room and a control room in there, has been turned into a little studio apartment. Sherry lives in there and she takes care of the place for the groups. But when I walked in and took a look at it, I thought, man, and I don't get attached to much, but this place got a special place in my heart. And I mean, I'll sell you one of my kids right now, but for some reason this house really gets me, and I just didn't like the thought of, you know, dulling it down even more and making it back into a long-term rental. So I decided, with everything we have going on in Kentucky, I probably needed to learn the platform, and we listed it on Airbnb. So listing it on Airbnb was kind of an experiment. If you're new to the channel, I've got some cabins that we're building in eastern Kentucky, southeastern Kentucky. I wanted to find out what was involved with the platform. So this place is about 5 or 6 miles from my house. It's quite possible for me to run over here if I need to. Kentucky's 500 or 600 miles from my house. I can't do that. So I wanted to see, you know, how high maintenance it was to have it listed on Airbnb, what was going to be required of me as the host, and how possible that would be for Kentucky. I own several rentals. I was okay with letting this kind of be an experiment. I didn't have super high expectations for how often it would rent, but I bought this house fairly inexpensively. I was able to remodel it without borrowing any money, and so we had that flexibility to try it out and see what happened. it booked every weekend. So I solicited the help of Mike from Mike Will Travel YouTube channel. He does tours of various Airbnb places that say short-term rentals, I should say, because there's a lot of other platforms. He mostly does, you know, cabins in the woods and things like that. This being kind of Chicago suburb house is a little out of his wheelhouse, but I reached out to him. He does offer help for, you know, marketing some of these things. He set up the listing with me, went through it all. He's very helpful, and he said this one's going to be a challenge just because of its location. I was surprised at how well it booked. What I found out though is that you know, if you try to rent it for $1, you'll book it every night. If you are renting it for $300 a night, this is not the place for that. So pricing it appropriately helps to fill your calendar. At the end of the day, it is slightly better than long-term rental, money-wise. By the time you pay the Airbnb commission, the cleaning fees, which are in addition to it, all those things, I think we're bringing in somewhere in that $1,800 to $2,000 a month range. I can rent it long-term for $1,500. It's a little better, but it's a lot more work. So, like the escape room, I was surprised at how far people come here. And at first I thought they were just you know, wanting to come stay in a really cool place, and there is some element of that. What I'm finding is a lot of people use it like a hotel room. So this place sleeps 4 people. If you put somebody on a couch or on the floor, you could sleep 6 in here if you wanted. And it rents for about $100 a night, plus fees, cleaning fees, blah, 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 blah. It's a little more expensive than 1 hotel room, but definitely less expensive than 2. So when we get people coming from other states, maybe they're coming from Minnesota, they got to come down around the lake, they wind up stopping here and spending the night. And even if it is a little bit out of their way, sometimes they spend 2 nights and see what the town has, just kind of make a fun stop out of it. You know, and it is a lot more fun than staying at a Holiday Inn. We are also about an hour west of Chicago, maybe just a little more than an hour, depends on traffic. And I was also surprised how many people come out of the city and want to come out to our little suburb in the country, I guess. You know, it's a big farming community. This town has some restaurants and bars and things like that, make it a little more interesting. There's some forest preserves nearby, you know, but for people who live downtown Chicago, you know, this is the middle of nowhere. It's the country, and they enjoy just coming out for a 1 or 2 night getaway, and that's been a real popular option for people. I guess I didn't really see that coming. So like I say, we've had a lot of different people here. Boy, and already a few stories. I've got one lady that came in here and she told me she was going to be taking photos in here for her Christmas card. I thought, yeah, sure, that sounds great. It's a neat place, you know, all kind of Christmas card, all this, you know, velvet Chernobyl wallpaper makes, but to each their own. Well, let's just say they were videos and not photos, and they were loud, and Sherry, who lives on the other side of this wall, said they were loud till like 4 in the morning. Let's also say that their videos were very different than mine. We had another lady in here, and she came in with 2 dogs, and I guess it was a couple. And a couple kids, which is allowed. We do allow dogs. There's a pet fee and it makes cleaning a little harder, but I thought that would, you know, bring some more people here because it's hard to find a place to stop with pets. We do allow dogs. It was a time when Sherry was unavailable to clean. On Airbnb, at least, there's an option for an Insta book, so somebody can book, you know, sitting in front in their car and walk right in if it's within the hours that they could do. There was a family here. They left. Checkout is at 11. They left, and there was nobody afterwards, so Sherry wasn't here to clean. All of a sudden, somebody Insta-booked and was ready to come. So my wife Insta-booked it over here and started cleaning. I was here as well. I needed her help making the beds because I suck at it. And this woman just showed up, and check-in was at 4. She showed up at like, I don't know, within an hour of the other group leaving. She seemed kind of frazzled. She had 2 little kids with her. And we said, hey, we're still cleaning. Check-in's not till, I think at that point it was at 3 o'clock. So we kind of turned her away. And as we were cleaning, she said, oh, don't worry about it. I don't care. He said, hey, the beds aren't made. There's a park down the street. Take the kids there. We want a chance to go through it. To anyone else who's on Airbnb, I highly recommend dealing with it this way, because we found actual dog turds behind this couch on the floor. Luckily, we could get that cleaned up. They came in and stayed. That lady, like 2 days into her stay, wound up going out to get something out of her car while the kids were sleeping upstairs. She couldn't get the digital lock to work to come back in. She started to panic. Sherry was here, came out. She tried it, couldn't get it either. Said, I'm gonna walk around and let you in. In the time it took her to walk around the house and come in through her unit, which these are connected, there's access between the two, the lady kicked the door in. It was crazy. The cool thing is, I have staff, we replaced the door, everything was fine. Airbnb provides like $1 million of liability coverage for every booking. I submitted a claim. They reimbursed me for the invoice to fix the door. They would not, however, pay for the digital lock. They said that's in their terms and conditions, and that's not something they do. I don't know. I was just happy to get some of my money back. New door, move on. So over the, I guess it's been better than a year that we've had this on Airbnb. I learned a lot. It took a little tweaking. Like I said, there's a unit in the back that Sherry stays in. She cleans the place here. This wouldn't be possible without her here doing that. It's made it quite easy. The amount of people that message you, and we've stayed in Airbnbs and we don't even talk to the host. We just go there, walk in the door, stay, leave, follow directions. Not a big deal. I've found that we're pretty low maintenance guests. A lot of people are messaging, I can't find a door, I don't know how to make this work. What's this? The tub won't drain now. And this place is brand new inside for the most part, for being 150 years old. But everything works. We're quick to respond, and take care of the problems. But the cleaning schedule, people in and out and how they booked, I was constantly texting her, this is what happened. We made her a co-host, which allows her to view the calendar and also respond to people's comments and requests, or take action on them. She can see that with alerts on her phone. Man, that made it a ton easier. The other problem we were having is it's hard for her to clean it 2 days back to back. This is not her full-time job. She has one. If somebody leaves at 11 o'clock in the morning, somebody Insta books and shows up at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that is a 4-hour window in the middle of the day when she is at work, where it needs to be clean, bedding changed. Sherry spends 4 or 5 hours in here cleaning. And that's important, because cleanliness is next to godliness when it comes to Airbnbs. So we want to allow lots of time for her to do a good job. So what we would wind up doing is saying that we had to have at least 24 hours between guests, no one-night stays. They had to be 2-night minimum, no Insta book, and that worked out well. It made it much easier, but it certainly cuts down on the rentals. We went through, we're getting anywhere from 2 to 5 night stays most weekends. I would say most months were all 4 weekends in the month. And when we had Instabook on, 1 night stay, no minimum time between groups, we were booking 1 or 2, midweek, 1 or 2 night stays. That made a big difference. So what we did was we have some more help. Megan, hi Megan, is available, and her and Sherry talk. If something pops up where this place needs cleaned, Sherry can talk to Megan. She could run over there. Worst case, my wife or I run over and take care of it. We wound up doing that 4 or 5 times in a row, and I certainly didn't start this venture to be the cleaning person. So I just don't have time for that. But that's been a huge help, having her as a co-host, having a backup cleaner, all these things made a big difference. Again, it's a big testament to management company in Kentucky, because I don't know anyone to be a primary cleaner, let alone a backup and a maintenance person and all that. I have all those things here, so it's a much different scenario. at the end of this year, and I think this is across the platform, across the board, you know, I'm a member of a bunch of Facebook groups, Short-Term Rental University, and groups that, you know, are forums for short-term rental owners. The bookings have dipped. They dipped pretty significantly, and we were left in a position where we were only renting it 2 or 3 weekends out of the month. So I decided that I would pull it off of the short-term rental market and I would rent it long-term. We're going to do away with the headaches that are Airbnb, although you're replacing them with some different ones. And in the end, I think that revenue at the end of the year is probably pretty close to the same. It is definitely more consistent and more dependable. But again, you run the risk of somebody trashing the place, not paying rent, skipping out. These are kind of my worst nightmares. So I wound up closing the calendar on Airbnb. I ran out the bookings, which took me until like the 29th of November, right after Thanksgiving. And I came over here to see what it would take to convert it back to a long-term rental. You know, we've just got a little dorm fridge over here. We've just got this little induction cooktop, so I need to put in a full-size stove and oven, full-size refrigerator. We take some of the, you know, kooky things down and kind of rent it as a furnished apartment. Some of the things in here I value for myself. I wouldn't want to just leave them to become someone else's, take them home. So we're talking, you know, a couple days trips back and forth. I thought, well, our second cabin in Kentucky, I could probably move all the furniture there, but I'm not ready for it yet. You know, I don't know. But I listed it. I came over here to meet a young man for my first showing. He seemed real interested, and I was going to see what I needed to pull out of here and take home with me. He wound up blowing me off, so nobody showed up. And as I sat in here, literally right here for 45 minutes, you know, thinking about my poor life decisions, again, I love this place. And I thought, you know, I don't care if the money's not great. With Sherry as a co-host and a backup cleaner and some of these things, you know, we changed the check-in, check-out from 11 and 3 to 10 and 4, which gives us a little bigger window to get it clean. I just like the place, and I think that's okay. I'm at a point in my investing career where I can have it not perform that well. But you know, this was I paid $18,500 for this house. I don't owe any money on it, and to have rent from the back unit and, you know, whatever Airbnb brings in the front, this thing cash flows like a monster even at its worst. It's just okay. So I have listed it on Airbnb again. Jake is here with me, and we're working on some strategies to get it on other platforms, to promote it socially so that we get some more guests here and really just have a lot of fun with this place and be okay with it. I think we'll be starting a Build Life website soon that will have a place to book any of these rentals. Kentucky will be available when those cabins are ready to rent for people to book there as well. And we'll see what happens. I don't know what the future has to hold, but I'm going to find out. I hope you'll come along with me. Which brings me to a point. I will put the listing in the description below. If you want to come stay in this place, you're more than welcome to book it. It'd be a lot of fun. For now, we're just doing it on Airbnb. We're not really set up to take direct books. You could send me an email as well. We'll work something out. I guess we got to try it at some point. But once again, thanks for watching this video. Like, subscribe, do all the things. Look for us on Facebook and TikTok. We do appreciate the views, and have a great day.